Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week. That is one Jill Bryan.
Hello.
Everybody watching us live over here on YouTube, 3 p.m. Eastern. You got to look it up. Do the calculations. You'll be able to pop in. Come say hello. It's kind of fun. We have a good time. Plenty of pre-show we get up to each and every week. But if you want it in podcast format, you can't make the live show, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. You even get a custom RSS feed, pop it in your player, and just go back and watch the video. We would appreciate it. But this week, we got to talk about a new version of Ubuntu, one-handed hacker keyboards that you can make at home if you really, really try. New version of Firefox is out, and Cambridge is trying to save the save icon. I'll tell you about that. But first, what's up? What's new with you, Jill Bryan? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm excited this weekend. We are having a Linux Gamecast viewing party and meetup this Saturday at Strider's house. Yay! It's been so long. So me and my Steve husband, Alan, otherwise known as Mr. Alert in Chat, and Mir PPC in our Discord chat are descending on the House of Lutris once again for a nice visit, to party and watch LGC Weekly live. And it has been a long time coming, and we are way overdue. Remember, Vin, when we used to do these monthly back in the day for like 2 years or so? We did them monthly. Well, you guys used to live a
lot closer.
Yeah, and that is one of the differences is Matthew was only 20 minutes away from me, so that made a big difference.
Now it's a trip.
Yeah.
And getting Jill like further than a kilometer away from the house, unless it's Disney World, is a fight.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? All kind of stuff, everybody. I've been playing with dragons. I've been battling dragons. I've been rocking dragons. And of course, I'm talking about the Dragon Q6A, which is probably coming out at the end of the month. Might be coming out tomorrow. I don't know. I don't. They leave little things like that out when they send me these units. I'm like, here's some prototype hardware to go play around with. I'm like, okay, sure.
How much time do I have to play with it?
It's me, Jill. They just kind of toss it over the fence. And they're like, that's interfacing Linux. He'll do whatever. And it's like, it's me. Yeah, I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do with it anyway. There's no point. So learning about that, I'm going to be learning about doing some AI image interference stuff with it as soon as we get done here, because that's one of the last things I got to get in the overview and the setup guide and how to like flash it using putting an operating system on it using the firmware flasher. Why? Because again, it's the kind of stuff I like to do, and I think it's a neat trick. So stay tuned to that. And something I haven't even mentioned, I put it out like 2 days ago, talked about it on the show, the Bluetooth speaker. That is out. That is a very rough cut for everybody. Now, because inside that Bluetooth speaker is an 8-core, 16-thread AMD Zen 4 with 32 gigs of RAM.
Amazing.
And Radeon graphics, not just your standard pokey APU type stuff. I put that thing through the paces. Why? Because the company that's going to be releasing it is shipping Ubuntu pre-installed, ready to go. So I wanted to see what that was about. And I wanted to see if we could get away with some gaming, maybe get away with like some actual DaVinci Resolve, OpenCL type stuff, and just all the other stuff that I had questions about. A mini PC being built into a speaker enclosure, and boy, there's some stuff there at the end that came to light. Let's say that. And normally when I tell you about stuff like this, patreon.com/interfacing Linux, it'll be out in like a week. This thing's not coming out, I don't think any earlier than the very end of October, maybe beginning of November. So it's going to be about 2, maybe 3 weeks. And as a heads up, if you're a Firewire or above tier, you can go take a look at it. I appreciate any feedback you got for it. It's a rough cut. You know, all the bits are there. It still needs color grading. It still needs, you know, some whiz-bang, flashy, sparkly stuff thrown on top of it. But all the primary shots and that are there for your perusal. Or you can go watch like a 10-second clip up at the beginning and see what I'm getting up to. That might be just as good. But let's start this week off with the latest and greatest from Canonical.
Yay! Yay! So Ubuntu Linux 25.10 Questing Quokka has been released with lots of updates, new apps, and the latest Linux kernel. Questing Quokka ships with GNOME 49, whose new features include a Do Not Disturb toggle and per monitor brightness sliders in quick settings, and improved fractional scaling calculations, which leads to much sharper and clearer text and user interface rendering. And something else that's really cool, the login screen now includes a more prominent accessibility menu, making assistive technologies easier to access from the start of the user session. And some major changes, Ubuntu 25.10 has 2 new apps that are pre-installed by default. Ptyxis, it's Ptyxis terminal. Not sure about the pronunciation on that. But Ptyxis is GPU accelerated, supports multiple profiles and container workflows, and replaces the original GNOME terminal. And the Loop, Loupe, which is a more modern and multi-touch image viewer powered by the fast Glycan image decoder and replaces Eye of GNOME. And the sudo command is now powered by Rust, sudo-rs, which improves memory safety. And we've talked about that here on LWDW several months ago. Although you don't have to type sudo.rs, just sudo like you're used to doing, because the Rust code-based version is now the default in Ubuntu. And Ubuntu 25.10 uses the new Linux kernel 6.17 and the Mesa 25.2.x series graphics drivers. Ubuntu Linux 25.10 Questing Quokka is a short-term release, which will be supported with updates until July 2026, and you can go download the ISO now and install it. But make sure to have at least 8 gigabytes of flash drive handy, though, because Ubuntu 25.10 comes in at a chunky 5.8 gigabytes. I noticed that because I grabbed a 4 gig one that I often put Linux distros on, and it was too small. I'm like, oh, got to get at least 8 or 16 on that one. Yeah. So
if you get a retro flash drive later on, don't use it, right?
Yeah, don't use it. Yeah, this is a big release.
That's about what I would expect for, your modern, Ubuntu-ish, somewhere about between 6. It depends on who's shipping and what they got packed into it.
Yeah.
Couple of things. This one's got the TPM backed disk encryption, which, security theater, gotta love it. And the RVA 23 extension, this is going to be the one that's like, you need this in your RISC-V.
Yeah.
Chip, or it's not going to count. So looking forward to all that. I installed this a couple of weeks ago. One of the daily rolling builds of it. Didn't run into any big issues.
Yeah.
It was what I was talking to Jill about before we went live. I was like, yeah, this is an Ubuntu release, which is a compliment. It is a compliment, because that's what I say when I get a new version of XFCE. I'm like, yeah, it's a new version of XFCE. I can't tell any difference, and that's great. Love it. If
it runs stable, they're doing their job.
Yeah.
And so I had installed it on another machine a few weeks ago as well, and it installed just great. And but I am also excited because on my main podcasting rig here, I'm using Ubuntu 24.404 LTS. And so we will get the Linux kernel 6.17 release in early 2026 and the hardware enablement update. So like the last year, Canonical has been promising, Ubuntu has a much quicker cadence with Linux kernels, updated Linux kernels.
I like how people say that. I get whatever kernel version I want whenever I want it.
Yeah.
Like the idea that I got to wait for a distribution to give me a kernel, man. Like, get out of here. I know. That. Like, that's cute. All right, here, kernel.org. Check back in 40 minutes. I'll be running whatever I want.
I know. Yeah.
I'm still going to give you a bunch of static, though, Canonical, because by default, you put Firefox, which is the browser that you ship in a snap.
Mm-hmm.
In this, you do it. We both know why you do it, to force people to keep Snap around, because you take that away and I'm like, can I just have regular Firefox? And they're like, no. Then you got to go to the Firefox website and get the keys and set up the repo and all that. By that time, and Chrome's over here, and we're like, you just want to download a thing?
Yeah.
You can run me. You don't have to go through all the extra stuff. And I'm like,
I know.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Go play with it. Go do your things. Let's talk about hacky type stuff.
Yeah, this is cool, Ben.
Handy keys, man. Like the one-handed keyboard. Sounds like a crazy idea. Maybe you just hate typing on glass. That's another thing we were talking about a bit earlier. Some company released their first version of something that I've kind of been hoping somebody would release, which is just a large rectangular block of capacitive glass that works as a keyboard. I'm like, that's cool, but it's like one of those things, like if you got to ask how much it costs. So maybe, just like we've all seen like little, like one-handed mice that you could carry around, right? With like a trackball thumb thing. This is kind of like that, except it's a keyboard. It is. And, I could
awesome.
Yeah, dude. So if you could free up that second hand for, a soothing mug of whiskey, you didn't have to use both hands to type. Or, you're just looking for an edge while trying to play, Mario typing in VR. I don't know exactly where you'd be going with that. Well, the keyer might be the wearable that you've been looking for, everybody. And I love it because it's homebrew, it's 3D printed. It even involves the use of modeling clay. And that got my attention. Can we get some action shots here of what's going on here? So, keyboard mouse sporting a corded keyboard. And if you don't know what that is, it's like you press down key combinations to form other certain keys. It's like playing a chord on a piano, which is pretty wild, man. You see the demonstration here. Now, the actual final product, well, this is what we were settled on, looks a bit like this. It's a glove you put in. It's got a couple of keys on the palm, a couple of keys sticking out from the bottom of the palm. And it looks like it's running an 18650 or 21. Yeah, it looks like an 18650 for power. And just pretty cool. And of course, it's using kitty cat paw keycaps. So it's got that going for it. I just love stuff like this. I love stuff like this. Would I use it? No. But there are situations, because my brain immediately goes to like, there has to be a situation where you were stuck. And like, well, if I was stuck with like one hand, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love the idea. I love the homebrewedness of this. I love the hackery of it. And there'll be a link in the show notes to the GitHub page where you can get to work on your own version of it. I don't know how many words per minute you might be able to get away with this, but it shouldn't be terribly hard, with the firmware, and you can load different like, key profiles to it. Just really interesting. And there are some commercial products like this, but they're not cheap. I mean, they're not crazy expensive, but you're looking like $200-300 for something like this if you didn't want to play with it at home. But you can stick something like this together for like $2 and a taco, everybody. This is like 150. 151. Craziness with it. What do you think about this, Joe?
Oh gosh, this is really an awesome custom keyboard and mouse for your hands. And I think it's cool. And in the video, it shows you can adjust the length for each finger individually to perfectly align the keys to your hand. It even has a little locking mechanism on it. And I think this is a fantastic and inexpensive invention for users that are, say, you wheelchair bound or have limited movement. This can come in handy. Like Ven says, there's been other products like it, but this is the most inexpensive, and it's the one you can build yourself. And I think this would also be an excellent way to avoid carpal tunnel. Once you learn all the patterns, I think this would be a good way to stop that from happening.
Maybe. I just love a good hacker project like this. Somebody's like, I want to wish something into existence, and let's just get to work on it. And he did. Good on that. Now, speaking of Firefox, which is available in non-snap format, you know what?
Yeah.
Not picking on snaps either. If it was shipped in a flat pack, I would just be like, really? Come on. What are we doing? Firefox 144 is out.
Yeah. And Firefox 144 is available as a binary or as a .deb on their website. So you can bypass the snap. It's also available as a flat pack.
There's even an app to repo.
Yes, exactly. And there's an app image.
Firefox got fed up enough. People going like, whoa, how do I install it now? It's like, they're like, fine, here.
Yeah. So here on LWDW, we always celebrate when our favorite open source web browser, Firefox, does
Ladybird?
quality. Oh, yeah, Ladybird is coming.
See, this is the danger of like these blanket statements, Joe Bryant. Everybody's. I was like, I got a different one. It's not Firefox.
Well, there is another one. Like I like GNOME Web a lot too. But Firefox is still my favorite open source browser, and they've done lots of quality of life improvements to our web browsing experience, which we always appreciate. And with the release of 144, we have all these awesome updates. So with this release, the new Firefox Profile Manager is coming to users and rolling out gradually. The Profile Manager allows you to create separate profiles like for work, vacation planning, school, or any other endeavor you choose. And you can customize your profiles with distinct avatars, color schemes, bookmarks, tabs, logins, add-ons, and browsing history. And actually, I've already started using this because I have a profile just for LWW, actually, for doing my show notes. So I created that a couple weeks ago when they were testing this. So I really enjoyed this feature. And there is a new Google Lens functionality for desktop that is actually quite useful. When Google is the default search engine, all you got to do is right-click on an image and it will show a search image with Google Lens option now. This will make it handy to copy, translate, or search text from images that I often use in Google Photos on mobile. So I'm appreciative that this is coming to desktop. And there are various improvements to tab grouping, including you can now drag a tab onto a collapsed group without the group expanding automatically, and the active tab of a collapsed tab group will now remain visible. Just awesome, awesome quality of life improvements there.
All right, let's talk about quality of life improvements then. Firefox. Do you have a dark mode yet?
There's one. Yes, we need that.
Do you?
They have the add-on, and that's what they would refer you to.
That's not their add-on.
I know. It is.
Crazy heavy. It slows down websites, and it's not very good. We're talking about Dark Reader. Everybody knows about Dark Reader. Yeah. Can you just give me a flag option like has been in Chrome for years before start mode? Why? Because I legitimately suffer from photophobia. I'm not afraid of light. It's a real medical condition, and there's a reason everything's so dark. Not because I like brooding. I cannot use Firefox on mobile because of that. I can't handle a white site. I can't read after something like that hits me for 3 to 4 minutes. So yeah, think about adding that. As you were saying, Jill, usability.
Yeah. Yes. That's a wonderful one, Van. We all want that. Also, the Firefox translator added support for 3 new languages: Azerbaijani, Bangla, and Icelandic. And the logins stored in the Firefox password manager now use a much stronger encryption scheme. And yes, Firefox 144 is the final version of Firefox to support 32-bit Linux distributions.
Oh, good. Well, that's all right. I got a 33-bit, so I'm
yeah. Do you have the rare 48-bit?
That rare, what was it, like 9 megs of RAM? But like, what's up?
Yes. Yeah, so lots of cool new features in this version of Firefox. It kind of stood out, so I wanted to cover it this week.
There we go. New version of Firefox is up. I use Firefox. I use Vivaldi. I use Chrome. I use Chromium.
Yeah. Use all the things.
I'll very patiently waiting for Ladybird.
Yes.
Once that rolls out, man, like I'm going to be white knighting and championing like that. That's the browser. That's the browser
absolutely.
I got the hopes for.
Yeah.
And hopefully Ladybird being driven like that will inspire other people to be like, I'm going to do my own browser too. And like, yeah, that's what I want. I want a bunch of different browsers. I don't want this monoculture between like WebKit and, Chromium. And whatever Firefox is doing these days, man. So there we go. Rock and roll with it. Let's talk about floppy drives. We grew up with them. You might have grown up with them. You definitely seen them in a movie or two. They're more than the thing that you, click on to save a file. That skeuomorphic picture of a floppy disk. And, even that's a bit of a meme these days in 2025, since that's really no longer used in modern applications. But, back in my day, the floppy drive, even long after it was in actual use, was the save icon. So maybe you just never heard of the floppy disk. They're the thing that retro tech tubers like to stick in the old PCs to load the video games and other applications. That's what they're using. That's what it's called there. So much things, it's just like they're getting old, man. Like, you don't realize how old floppy media is. Like, what are your first thoughts from this? Like 30, 40 years? Somewhere in there, man. And it's starting to degrade. Why? Because it hasn't been 30 or 40 years, people. Floppy disks have been in use for over 6 decades. 60 plus years we've been writing data bits to little bits of material lightly coated with a magnetic surface. So I was really, really happy to see that my boys and girls over at Cambridge University are doing something to try to preserve not the disk so much, but the knowledge that goes behind it. The library, they yoinked a grant to lay out a bit of preservation groundwork, tracking down and interviewing the people who actually worked on floppy disk and the data and how it's stored, getting that information written down in a place that's going to be accessible to future generations. And they're going to be throwing some science at it to figure out legitimately the best way to preserve existing floppies. What's going to keep these guys around the longest? What I said, basically creating a repository for, the future generations, the lizard people, when they finally, show up from wherever lizard people show up from, probably the flat moon. And so they can skip step 0 when attempting to recover the information from our fallen civilization. And I think that's great, man. And you think about stuff like that. How many times have you seen somebody like with old hardware? They're like, we have no idea how this thing works. We're going to have to take it apart and figure out what makes it tick. Then maybe we can stick it back together. Usually with like old custom mini PCs, back from the late 70s or mid 70s. And, somebody was like, well, I'm going to try to reverse engineer how this thing boots. Like, imagine if you just had that information laying there and you're like, oh, cool. All right, cool. We can figure this out. So I love to see this. And they make a point in the post on their web zone about, just stuff that they've uncovered, like Stephen Hawking's like personal notes and stuff like that. They're just going through and digging up things that people, information, ideas, thoughts, and hints, allegations that they've written and saved over they're just sitting in a drawer somewhere, and they will be uncovered. And a floppy drive is not like a manuscript that we're going to run across, like it's a 2,000-year-old scroll. Wait, what's the challenge there? Hopefully it's written in something we understood. We got most of the languages figured out, and like, can we unroll it? That's it. It's a different story when it's on a media block of like moon technology 2,000 years from now. So having a repo like this and getting a bunch of people, because the knowledge on how these things even work is very quickly eroding, which is a problem when so much information has been stored on them. Because I'm sure just about everybody out there has at least a little bit of information somewhere kicking in their house stored on a floppy drive, if you got one. What do you think, Joe? Now, this is the game I like to play. Like, how long has Jill muted herself? Nope. She unmuted for a second, then it muted right back. So what do we think, everybody? About a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Jill's probably been chatting away, and
I've been responding, but
all right.
So yeah, I have a huge floppy disk collection because I used to have to use them to back up animation back in the day. And I would have 3 copies of several frames of animation on one, and then I took those and I copied them to my zip disks, and then my SyQuest disks, and then CD-ROMs. And I just recently moved a lot of my images over to cloud saves, so I can have that data. But I wanted to show everyone something I got out, and Ven will love this too. This is my Corel Linux floppy boot diskette. It's cool. And I have a Corel Linux box here. This was my original box that I installed Corel Linux when I bought this at Fry's Electronics back in the day. And I used to run Corel Draw with it and Corel WordPerfect.
The Corel WordPerfect, actually, I used it because it shipped, I think it started shipping in like Red Hat 5 on the extras.
Yeah,
CD.
I have it actually on my Red Hat box too.
One of the novelties
CDs
with Corel Linux was like it had a grub or a Lilo boot screen, and like it showed a picture, we're like, what? This is done. And I immediately got rid of it because it was too much like Windows, and I'm like, poser Linux. I don't have time for this. But the whole idea of like, getting back to the floppies, the floppy drive wasn't really optional back in the day. That was your bootloader for your, like, you put that in. That's where your boot partition lived, to boot your Linux partition, which was always kind of fun. Then, like, let's just say Linux wasn't in the state where most people just installed it as their primary OS on the PC. Man, like, you'd have DOS or even Windows or just anything like reliable kicking around. So, that's great to see. Love that they're doing this. It's something that needs to be done. It's not flashy, it's not sexy, but having that there lets me sleep a little better. Oh yeah, it's I was going to tell everybody, like, many things. You want to keep track of what I'm doing, what I'm up to, interfacinglinux.com. Head over to the forums. People are asking questions. I'm showing off things like running Silksong on a Dragon Q6A. It's just kind of things I do when I'm left unattended with hardware. And several other things. Somebody's working on trying to get AI something, NPU working. I don't even think it's AI. You just need CNPU for something on the rock chip. Looking for help with that. If you get any thoughts or ideas or suggestions, head over to the forums. Maybe try those out. A much better place than sending your questions or providing your information to the void that is becoming Discord and social media and all these other places people are dumping information that nobody else can find.
Yeah.
Interfacinglinux.com, all the cool stuff I'm working on over there. If you want to support this show, everything we do here, linuxgamecast.com, where the show is originating from. That's where you can download the podcast. Talk about self-hosting. You ever try self-hosting a podcast? I've been doing that for 13 years, man, and it ain't cheap. We would love your support. And as a thank you, you get a non-YouTube version of the show. You don't have to go to YouTube. You get a video, higher quality audio, higher quality video, something you can download. You can put it on multiple floppy drives. If you do have them laying around, plus access to our Discord, and of course, the live and uncut version of the show. You're listening to this, you're like 30 minutes. You want like another hour every each week. Guaranteed. At minimum, an hour. Go check it out. It'll be there in video and MP3 format. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Why? Because I need to go teach a single board computer how to recognize a picture or something like that. Man, I don't even know what I'm getting into. Until next week, everybody, have a great one. Enjoy the credits.
Bouncy music. Thank you to our advisor, Arthurian, and our Patreon executive producers, Barbara Ant Scott, Atomic 12345, Drummer 7 Targos, Chicago Kicks Mules Level, Glorious Eggroll, Basil Empty, our Sea Monsters, Vera Tenuta, Treggy, Mike, Cataclysm, our Death Notes, Oil of Hope, Zeno, Nova, Chad, Romeo, Martin, Renee, Leonardo, our cheerleadings, Jolly, Danielle, and the list goes on
Danielle,
and on.
Yeah. Jolly Danielle. All right, beautiful people. Have a great rest of your week. Get out there, get up to something. Have a little bit of fun. Put a smile on your face or somebody else's.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. Till next week. See ya.
Bye, everyone. Yeah, I was so excited.